1957 was a monumental year that saw many events that would have profound historical significance. From the space race to civil rights advancements to transformative figures that shaped the future, 1957 hosted pivotal moments in human history. Facts Verse presents Most Historic Moments of 1957. Major world events. The space race between the US and Soviet Union began in earnest when the Soviets successfully launched Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite, into orbit on October 4, 1957. Sputnik's successful launch came as a major shock to many Americans, and it marked mankind's first major step into space exploration. This intensified the ongoing Cold War tensions between the two superpowers. In Africa, the country now known as Ghana gained full independence from Great Britain on March 6th, joining dozens of African countries moving away from European colonial rule in the post-WW2 era. Kwame Nkrumah led the country into independence and became Ghana's first prime minister. On March 25th, the Treaty of Rome was signed, establishing the European Economic Community between Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany. The EEC, which came into force on January 1st of the next year, laid the early framework for the modern European Union. Major U.S. events. In September, 9 African American students, known as the Little Rock Nine, enrolled at Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas, which until then had been an all-white school. The students braved intense racism and backlash from segregationists, requiring the intervention of federal troops sent by President Eisenhower to protect them. Their courage became a defining moment in the struggle against segregation and the ongoing civil rights movement across the southern U.S. Despite the challenges, the Little Rock Nine completed that school year and paved the way for further desegregation efforts. On January 10th and 11th, over 60 black church leaders and civil rights organizers gathered in Atlanta to establish the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, and they elected Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as their first president. The SCLC became a leading civil rights organization that practiced civil disobedience and nonviolent resistance, inspired by Gandhi, against Jim Crow laws and discrimination against African Americans across the South. Popular music. The nascent rock and roll genre that first exploded in the mid-50s continued dominating the musical landscape and the Billboard charts in 1957. 21-year-old Elvis Presley was the biggest musical act, with major hits like All Shook Up and Jailhouse Rock. His debut album, Elvis Presley, released in 1956, became RCA Victor's first million-selling album by a solo artist. His star-making film performance in Jailhouse Rock also premiered in 1957 to box office success and great acclaim for his on-screen charisma. Legendary artists like Jerry Lee Lewis and Buddy Holly also topped the charts with defining rock hits like Great Balls of Fire and That'll Be the Day. Frank Sinatra, meanwhile, won the inaugural Album of the Year Grammy for Songs for Swingin' Lovers, capping off his successful comeback after his musical slump earlier in the decade. Broadway also flourished with the debut of the musical West Side Story, featuring a book by Arthur Lawrence, music by Leonard Bernstein, lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, and choreography by Jerome Robbins. Pop culture events. On March 1st, the beloved children's book The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss was published for the first time. Featuring the iconic title character, unusual rhyming scheme, and simple vocabulary, it revolutionized children's literacy education. Criticized at first, it quickly became a beloved classic and crucial part of millions of childhoods. The first episode of the sitcom Leave It to Beaver aired on CBS on April 23rd, capturing the idealized suburban family life of the era. Starring Jerry Mathers as the title character Beaver Cleaver, the show presented a whimsical view of suburban middle-class family life and everyday adventures from a child's point of view. The show ran for 6 seasons, eventually airing in more than 80 countries. Fashion trends. Women's fashion moved in a more masculine direction, taking inspiration from menswear. Popular trends included loose-fitting oversized shirts, skinny trousers, blazers, and flats instead of heels. Accessories like scarves, gloves, fashionable hats, and hairstyles with volume were also widely seen as style staples. Christian Dior's A-line dresses with cinched waists also took off, becoming one of the era's most iconic silhouettes. Menswear moved away from more formal suits, most associated with the early 50s. Polo shirts, khaki pants, and sweaters gained prominence as examples of popular, smart casual style. Vibrant colors and patterns for men's shirts and jackets came into vogue, as leisure wear also rose alongside increasing emphasis on comfort, especially among the younger generation. Common toys. Several iconic toys that became part of popular culture made their debuts. Wham-O sold over 100 million hula hoops as millions of people enthusiastically adopted the hip-swiveling craze. Frisbees first began gaining recognition under the Wham-O company after decades of earlier flying disc predecessors. Life magazine famously featured Frisbee as one of the hot new trends among American youth in 1957. The earliest Lego bricks were designed in Denmark, developing into the modern interlocking blocks recognized by children worldwide. Arthur Fisher invented the Fisher Technic construction set, which later influenced Lego to create the stud and tube system. In the US, Barbie dolls hit shelves after Ruth Handler created them for her daughter. Mr. Potato Head also became a hit for younger kids. Popular board games like Risk, Scrabble, and the first foam Monopoly arrived. Overall, toys grew more diverse, creative, and reflected rising pop culture influences. The cost of common goods. Gasoline cost an average of 24 cents a gallon across the country. The average cost of a brand new car was about $2,500, depending on size and model. The median sale price of a single-family, newly built home in 1957 was just over $12,000, which amounts to around $120,000 today when adjusted for inflation. The average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment was about $80 nationwide. A loaf of bread cost 17 cents on average, while milk averaged about $1 per gallon typically. First-class postage stamps for domestic envelopes cost 3 cents. Movie tickets at the time averaged 75 cents nationwide. In context, the national median income after taxes stood at around $45.50 for the year, equivalent to an annual salary of about $50,000 today. Sports highlights. The 1957 World Series matched the New York Yankees, appearing in their fourth straight against the Milwaukee Braves. The Braves defeated the Yankees 4-3 for their first championship since moving to Milwaukee. World featherweight champion boxer Sugar Ray Robinson regained the middleweight title after narrowly beating Gene Fullmer. In figure skating, American figure skater Dick Button became the first skater to successfully land the triple jump. He took home his third straight men's title at the World Figure Skating Championships. Up-and-coming boxer Cassius Clay also won the Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions on March 5th, a stepping stone to his legendary career as Muhammad Ali. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your strongest memory from 1957? Let us know in the comments section below.